Water's Children, celebrating the resource that unites us all. Water's Children, written by Angèle Delanoë. Child of here, child of there, child of water, tell me about the water you see, the water you drink, the water that bathes you. For me, water is everywhere, the tap that I turn on without thinking, the bathtub full of bubbles, the sprinkler that greens the grass, the lake that summons us for vacation fun. For me, water is a burst of laughter. For me, water is winter, the ocean and the river trapped beneath the ice, snowflakes that blur the horizon where earth becomes sky, the frost that whitens my lashes, the solitude and silence of the long polar night. For me, water is a perfect crystal of snow. For me, water is the dam, the vast lake that swells in the rain, the flooding of my ancestors' village, the old church bells silenced for the sake of new power, the reservoir that holds the energy to light up distant cities. For me, water is the night that blazes like day. For me, water is the ocean, the gray waves that break on the sand, the damp air where the gulls soar, the boat that carries my father into the horizon, the hold heavy with fish when he returns to port. For me, water is a sea star. For me, water is springtime, the showers that wash the gray roofs of my town, the asphalt shining in the streetlights, the rainbow of umbrellas that bloom on the sidewalk, the cheerful splash of the fountain. For me, water is an opening flower. For me, water is the immense forest, the air heavy with rain, the ancient trees rooted beneath the tide, the swish of my canoe between the green grasses, the symphony of birds in the tangle of branches. For me, water is the breath of the river. For me, water is the mountain, the steep paths that lose themselves in mist, the rainbow where the waterfall meets the sun, my village snuggled around its well, the icy stream that waters our gardens. For me, water is a basket of vegetables. For me, water is the rice paddy, the sparkling grid of flooded fields, the green islets full of young shoots, my mother and father planting out the seedlings, the children and the ducks wading in the mud. For me, water is a bowl of rice. For me, water is a long history, the land my grandfather reclaimed from the desert, the snaking hose that drips and drips, the dunes turned into gardens, the leaves murmuring in old fruit trees. For me, water is the juice of an orange. For me, water is the monsoon, the horizon black with clouds, the thirsty ground cracked and waiting, the first drops bursting on the roof, my face drenched, lifted to the sky. For me, water is the earth drinking. For me, water is patience, silent steps on the fine sand, the full canteens more precious than gold, my family's tents under 1,000 stars, the oasis in the distance like a promised land. For me, water is a cup of mint tea. For me, water is a miracle, my abandoned village roasting in the sun, the endless walk on burning paths, the shade of the tent where we can sleep at last, the tank truck that keeps us alive. For me, water is an outstretched land. For me, water is an outstretched hand. And you, child of the future, child not yet born, tell me about the water that you see, the water that surrounds you, the water that bathes you. For me, water is the song of my mother, the ocean of her belly, where I am transforming myself, the umbilical cord that helps me to grow. In this warm bubble, I am a child of water. I will always be a child of water. For me, for all of us, water is a matter of life. The end.